welcome our first attendees, our first participants to our webinar on studying MBA at a German technical university. Very special webinar. As you know, our Wednesdays are really interesting because of this our subject webinars, and I'm sure this one will not be an exception. So my name is 𝘗𝘪𝘵, and today I will be, as I like to say, the least interesting person, because as you see, we have lots of guests who will be talking to you about, presenting to you several different programs, MBA programs in Germany. And not to take a lot of their time, let me actually jump into my short presentation of presenting them. So let me share my screen really quickly, and let's get started. So yes, as I said, topic is studying MBA in Germany, and we have several guests from 2 German universities, but they will present 4 programs. So we have Professor Dr. Johannes Stephan from Technische Universität Bergakademie Freiberg, and he will present a program MBA International Business and Resources in Emerging Markets. And we have several guests also from Technische Universität Berlin. You can see them also on the screen. So, and they will present 3 programs actually. Phillip, Sarah, Nora, and Sandra will talk about energy management, building sustainability management methods for energy efficiency, and MBA sustainable mobility management. So each of the programs, so in total 4 programs, will be given 15 minutes, each of them, and then we will switch to our live Q&A section. But before that, dear participants, you can also see on the bottom of your Zoom interface as a Q&A button. So it's always open, which means that you can always send your questions there, and we will react them as soon as possible, or we'll collect them for our live Q&A. For those who are joining us on Facebook, unfortunately, you don't have access to this Q&A button, but I also shared Zoom ID so that you can join if you can us on Zoom, and you have more opportunities here. And yes, of course, follow the chat, because Nino, our moderator today, will be sharing some interesting links for you. And now let's move to our first speaker. As I said, Professor Dr. Johannes Stephan from TU Bergakademie Freiberg. I will stop sharing my screen right now, and also will invite everyone else but Professor Stephan to turn off their screens. Thank you.
So I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Very good. Is the right screen also to be seen, or is the wrong one?
It's a right one, but with notes. So let's try the second version. Yeah, now it's the right one. Thank you.
Super. Okay, thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Freiberg. As you have seen in the map already, Freiberg is far east. It's not as far east as we have to worry about rockets or anything coming from even further east, but we are within East Germany. Now, it has a huge advantage, and that's ever since we had the transformation process and East Germany joined West Germany, all institutions like universities had been refurbished, had been invested into, so we have very modern infrastructure to offer. Welcome to Freiberg. It's the University of Resources. The University of Resources, the Technical University Freiberg, has been founded very, very early in 1765. It's probably the oldest mining university that we have in Europe or in the world, as we typically say. 6 faculties in our university. We have math and IT, we have chemistry and physics, geosciences, of course, mining, mineral or mechanical and engineering, energy engineering. That is one of the very modern things that need to be looked at, very important. Material science, as you can imagine, is also extremely important. And then we have business and economics. That's the faculty that I am in. The university is very small, yeah? About 4,000 students, very international. Around 40% of our students are actually from all around the world, as is our contacts with other partner universities. So we are very international. We are, being so small, able to offer excellent job opportunities. Why? Because we are able to have a close and intense mentoring of students, pampering, if you like. We try to twist arms of students to study in a short time, and that's actually in an MBA what students typically want: get in and out and back into their careers as fast as possible. Now, how does the program look like? It's called International Business and Resources in Emerging Markets. So it focuses on anything that has to do with international firms, multinational firms, MNCs, or transnational firms, or foreign direct investment. And that with the speciality of looking at emerging markets or developing countries. And as you can imagine, natural resources will play an important role in that. We offer an education of full time in 2 academic years. The academic year starts in October, goes through to July. In one of our specializations, we have a compulsory first 1 semester outside in a partner university. Those universities include a university in Paris, another university in Trento in Italy, one in 𝘱𝘢𝘕𝘍𝑰, that's Finland, even closer to the country I've been trying to not name and refer to before. Two universities in Poland, Poznan and Krakow, and 2 in China. So these are the possibilities that our students can go to. Wuhan is an industrial megacity, as is the university, very large. And Xiamen is a smaller, 2 million inhabitants only for Chinese terms, that's small. And it's just at maybe the nicest campus that I've ever seen. Visiting many universities all around the world, and it's at the it has its own beach. Being a German public university, we offer a tuition-free study program. That is for the first set of studies at any kind of level. So if this is your first master, then this will be financed. This will be subsidized by the government. If not, there will be tuition fees, but not very large. We command or we depend on a high academic quality in our study program. Yes, we signal with our GMAT or GRE tests that we require students to do. A high level of command of English language, as in the TOEFL or IELTS or any other kind of test that is internationally recognized. And what is also very particular about our program is that we offer very small class sizes. So we have around 20 to 30 maximum students per year entering the study program new. So you can see it's a small, intimate university, not in Berlin. But the advantage, with huge disadvantages, of course, because Berlin is such an interesting, vibrant city. I studied in Berlin myself, so I know why Berlin is so well liked. But it has the we offer the advantage of having a very intimate, small university where you can talk to professors, where you have access to the academic staff to make your life easier, or your transition to a German university system easier. Now, what are the conditions of admission? Well, of course, we need not of course, but we decided that we want to have students with a bachelor degree in business or economics related fields of science. I know that's not always usual, but we are quite strict in that. And that is an experience from the past that we take quite seriously. We want students to have some extent of work experience. So in general, something like a minimum 1 year, but that is something that can be dealt with flexibly. Because the program is quite interactive, we do want to take on board the job experience that students have, reflect this on the theories that we teach, so that you get a comprehensive education or can contribute towards getting the education more comprehensive. Here are the minimum levels in TOEFL 95, in IELTS 6.5. I think that's band 6.5. I think that these are usual levels, but they do signal that we demand quite a high minimum level. For the analytical tests, we have GMAT with 570 and GRE 305. That's around the level of a percentile of 50%, a bit less. And I think that's quite acceptable as a signal to students what level we want to have. The American and the British students, of course, have a huge advantage in the language, so that their levels tend to be higher, whereas those who treat English as a foreign language, of course, will have an additional burden to shoulder. What we want to see, and hence typically get lower levels. That's why we are at 570 and 305. What we do want to take very seriously is the motivation letter, where you explain to us, I want to study your university, in your university, because you offer certain courses that we want, because you offer this possibility of having a partner university study period abroad, because you offer what you have. Okay, not just in general terms, I want to study an MBA in Germany. That is what you're going to write in your motivation letter. And of course, you're going to describe to how this can help you to propel in your career. Okay, and this is going to be one of the most important things that we test in application packages. We have a very early deadline of 15th of April, unfortunately. And that is a requirement that is beyond our control. But of course, if there's 3 places, we can still be a little bit flexible here. So you can still send your documents, even if they are not ready by the 15th, you can still start already the process, and then you're in deadline, okay? We do not require previous knowledge in German language. That is not needed. You will get German language tuition here. Or teaching here. The university administration is also competent to speak English. So in coming here, that is not necessary. Of course, it's always good to be able to buy a coffee, but to find your way to the next bar in German language. So what you need to have, and that also applies to all universities in Germany, ability to self-organize. Your universities in Germany are designed as we offer infrastructure, you use infrastructure, and we help you along, but in principle, you have to find your own timetables and decide on your own how you want to study. Now, how do you present the program? That's not so easy. What I decided to do is I will give you a very brief overview of the topics. In general, we have one overarching general compulsory module section, that's in blue, where you get method of analysis, you get some econometrics, you get something like modules on business communication. That's obvious that this is needed. And you will get a module that is already now very, very much into our profile, and that's international development and resources. This is a module that I teach, and you can imagine for a mining university that looks at natural resources and materials and economic development, this is going to be very specific. Then we split into 2 specializations, one being the international business one, the one that is concerned with foreign direct investment, multinational firms, anything that has to do with the management and the effects of multinationals and the management of multinationals. So human resource management, organization behavior, operations management, all these things come in from the perspective of international firms. Not just the usual marketing, but the marketing in firms that have several locations in the world. Then in the IB, in the international business section, I told you there is this compulsory staying in a partner university or a double degree. We offer a double degree possibility with Paris University and Wuhan. I will talk about this a little bit later. On the resources and environment specialization, you will find courses like climate change economics, of course, very contemporary topic. Resource management, you have seen due to the pandemic, all these ripples in the supply chains. So that's going to be one of the very important aspects, how to secure the inflow of resources for industry. Environmental management, we've seen the sustainable development goals in the world taking foot. Material flow analysis and life cycle assessment, this is cradle to cradle and things like that. Yeah, recycling, upcycling, downcycling, and so on. So you see, these are very topical those topics are very contemporary topics, very important. And what we have, as most universities, we have a large variety of free electives. You can choose from all other faculties that you like, and that's quite interesting. We also allow internships. To a certain extent, we allow you to do internships and take that import that into the study program. So here were 2 slides on the individual modules for which we don't have time, but these are acquirable at the internet page. And then I wanted to focus very briefly on the double degree option, because that's something very specific, not so easy to organize, but a very, very appreciated by students institutional option that we have. So you study 2 semesters in Freiberg, then you go and study 2 semesters in a partner university, and then you get what is really a unique selling proposition. You get 2 full valuable certificate degrees. Now, that is living internationalized life, because you live in 2 different jurisdictions, 2 universities with their own set of rules. It's possible. It's not always so easy. Have a look at the top left corner here. We have our first 2 graduates who have done the double degree program with Wuhan in China. So now, if you want to get more information, well, then go to the internet. That's obvious. We have a study program internet page. Try to update this on a regular basis. We have the international office that tries to take care of all your questions that you may have. You find all contact details in the internet. And before I say thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much for my German university, before I do that, I want to show you our internet page. It's that one. There's a little film in it in the middle too. Then I want to show you our town, so you get a little bit of an idea of how Freiberg looks like. Small town, medieval, original buildings, not very modern, but all modernized, and sport facilities, cultural offers, everything. And one very particular thing, and that's our mineral collection. We are famous for our European largest minerals collection. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope that you think this could be something for me. It should be something that is best suited for you. It's not a one size fits all. It's a very specific program, but we are very proud of what we are able to offer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I also join our guests in applauding. Thank you very much, Professor Stephan. Very nice presentation. And yeah, I already collected lots of questions from Facebook, and there are a couple of questions here, but we will not address them right now. Let's wait for the end of the webinar. So once again, thank you very much, and let's move now to TU Berlin. So yeah, we have, as I said, lots of special guests today, and there will be 3 programs. So let us immediately jump into the presentation. Let me already give the floor to our presenters. I think Phillip will start. Yeah, let's go.
Thank you very much. Okay, I will share my screen. There we go. Okay. Thank you very much for joining us. So we have the following scheduled for you today. Brief welcome. Hello, everyone. I'm Phillip. I'll be doing the main discussion here with my colleagues jumping in at specific points along the way. I will do a brief introduction of the 3 Energy Masters programs, who we are, what we're doing. There will be a slight introduction to each of the programs, and then finally a little summary of everything together. So we are a total of 4 master programs, energy master programs. The MBA program, the energy law program, will not be discussed this time around. There will be a separate session with those colleagues. So the MBA programs are energy management, building sustainability, and mobility management. They are very interconnected. Each of the MBA programs has a total of 90 ECTS. It's a 3-semester full-time program for each of them. They have a similar fee structure. of 19,800 euro for the program. Those numbers can be a little shocking. Any financing options and different payment options are all available. Naturally, the energy management program focuses on the international energy sector, whereas the building sustainability program focuses on real estate management with a focus on sustainability. And finally, the mobility management obviously focuses on transport and mobility. Moving on, classes will mainly take place on the 𝘱𝘓𝑚 campus of the TU Berlin. The campus is made up of a lot of different startup related energy projects and companies. The teaching language is English, obviously. There are 30 students per program admitted each year. And actually, company visitations and excursions are part of the curriculum. As with most programs in Germany, the programs start in October. We're currently right in the middle of our application period, which goes from February 1st to April 30th. So what is special about our MBAs? A traditional MBA program focuses on the management and leadership aspects, as well as business, economics, law, and technology. We throw in the specialization of energy, building, and mobility to that mix. This is a small introduction to the academic directors of each program. We have Professor 𝘱𝘢𝘷𝘦𝘳𝘵, Professor 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘵𝘩, and Professor Dino for each of the programs. You will naturally get to meet these gentlemen during your studies. This gentleman, Mr. Einacker, he is the CEO of the TUBS GmbH. He is the quasi head of the company that does the follow through of each of the programs for the TU Berlin. This is a slide with us. Each of the programs has two academic program managers and one academic program coordinator. In this case, Sarah is here from energy management. I'm from building sustainability, and Nora is here from mobility management. Berlin. We go from the small town in Eastern Germany to the large town in Eastern Germany. One of the former cultural ministers of France, Jacques Lang, said Paris is always Paris and Berlin is never Berlin. He was referring to the ever-changing nature of the city of Berlin. The city has been developing for the last 20, 30 years, and it never really stays what it has been in the past. It is a historical city and has many cultural attractions, obviously. The center of politics in Germany. Recreational opportunities are abound. Within very little time, you're outside of the city in the middle of green Brandenburg. And it's naturally Germany's startup hotspot. Many of the current startups begin in Berlin. The Technical University of Berlin, or Technische Universität Berlin, we've got the brains for the future in the heart of Germany's capital. That's the slogan. We do have a few more students than our colleague. We have a total of 33,500 students, of which 25% are of an international background. We have 360 full professors and a staff of 8,000. The 𝘱𝘓𝑚 campus is a holistic smart city district of the future. That is the official slogan of the 𝘱𝘓𝑚 AG. The it houses companies, research institutes, and startups, including Deutsche Bahn is located there, as is the energy company 𝘱𝘢𝘳𝘃, and many others. There's a total of about 5,000 employees working on the campus, and it acts as a real-life laboratory. Sarah.
Yes, thank you, and welcome once again, all prospective students. As you can see, now this is the modular structure of our 3-semester-long MBA with a focus on energy management. The first semester will cover the technical, economical, and the entrepreneurial, as well as the legal foundations, specialized on management decisions in the energy sector. In the middle, you can see the second semester, where you will deepen this view, and we will look at business practices, technical and regulatory aspects, primarily of grid-based utilities, and we will also look into investment. And in your last semester, you will be able to choose out of 9 compulsory elective modules. You will be choosing 2 of those, focusing on topics according to your individual interests. That's why it's elective. And we will close with your individual master thesis. We will always start with the orientation week in October, and we will always have a graduation ceremony in summer that we are already looking forward to. Yep, next slide, thanks. This intake that will currently start their second semester is once again, as usual, very diverse, and we are very proud of the diversity of our programs, all 3 of them or 4 of them. We have 35 participants. This time we have 26% females, which is very low. Last year, the last intake, we almost had 50%. We have 18 nationalities. The year before we had 21, so we are, as I said, diverse. We usually expect 1 year academic work experience. That's why our academic backgrounds are as diverse as the students are themselves. And the average work experience is 6 years. And this brings me to the next very interesting program.
Thank you, Sarah. So you will see the building sustainability program is built up similarly to the energy management program. And you will also see similar subjects in the mobility program. The first 5 modules, that would be technology, economics, business, law, and management, are held together with the all 3 programs. They take the core lessons together with a further in-depth specialized component for a further look at this program-specific content of each of those aspects. Excuse me. I apologize. The technology, economic, business, law, and management programs are therefore conducted with the students of the other classes together. And then once you have the basic concepts of each of those classes, you would then go into a further detail look focusing on energy, building sustainability, or mobility. In the building program, there's also a lecture series and an interdisciplinary project in the second semester, which brings together everything that you've learned in the first lectures and you apply all that information into one big project. The third semester, similar as to energy management, the third semester has 2 compulsory electives. You are also allowed to check out 9 of the different programs that we have to offer. And finally, the master thesis at the end of the third semester. Similar to energy management, we have in this current intake 32 participants, 31% female. We've had a little higher also in 2018, we had roughly 50%. Hopefully we can increase this number as well. Currently, and this changes a little bit from each intake is a little different where the nationalities come from, but we have this year 12 nationalities, the top being Iran, India, Lebanon, and Mexico. We have an average age of about 30 and an average work experience of 5 years. You can see that in general, most of the students in the building program come from an architecture or civil engineering background. And Nora.
Thank you, Philip. Welcome also from my side. I'm Nora Bonatz. I'm the academic program manager for the MBA Sustainable Mobility Management. And before I get into detail of the structure of the program, you might ask yourself why this program is actually so important. So we all know that climate change is happening, and climate change, we can feel and see the impacts of climate change. And the transportation sector contributes to the global greenhouse gas emissions. And just as an example, in Germany, the transportation sector is the only sector where the greenhouse gas emissions are still on the same level than 1990. Luckily, the politicians and industry are realizing it, and there's a change happening. And this is why we need you. So we need skilled people who are passionate about sustainability and want to change the mobility sector in Germany, but not only in Germany, actually worldwide. So in the first 5 modules, technology, economics, business, law, and management, you will learn the general basics, but you will also apply this general knowledge to the specific mobility sectors. And the second semester, you would dive much deeper into the mobility issues. So you will learn about the major mobility trends and create scenarios, but you will also learn the importance of the user perspective and the people's mobility needs. In the lecture series, we invite several experts from the industry and academia to share and discuss with you how the transition towards sustainable mobility can happen. And the third semester, you can specialize even further and shape your own profile by choosing 2 out of 9 electives. So as a sustainable mobility management, we offer the electives data analysis in mobility, business models and investments, and urban and transport planning. But if you decide that if you would like to focus more on energy management or building sustainability, you can also choose some of their electives. And the last step is to write your master thesis, which you can write about a topic according to your own interest. And yeah, throughout the 3 semesters, we also organize many excursions, company visits, and meetings with our alumni. So you have chances to get in touch with the industry and build a network. Next slide, please. Our program is just as diverse as the other 2 MBA programs, not only in cultural backgrounds, but also in terms of academic and professional backgrounds. And this is actually the real beauty of this program. So you are not only learning with each other, but also from each other. And besides the sustainability trend, companies are also aiming for more diversity. So it's becoming more and more important to being able to work in diverse teams. And this is actually something which you can practice in our MBA programs on a daily basis. In the chart, you see that most of our students have an engineering background. If you have a non-engineering background, don't be afraid to apply for our program. Although we have 1 module in technology, it's not a technical master program, it's still a Master of Business Administration. And I would also like to encourage especially women to apply for our program, because women are unfortunately still underrepresented in the mobility sector. And we also need you to make this transition towards a more sustainable mobility happen. And I will take over to Phillip again.
Thank you very much, Nora. Just to show you where in the world all of our students come from, we literally have students from each of the continents represented, minus Antarctica, of course. The amount of students and their backgrounds make for an extremely cultural diversity, and it's very rewarding. Our teaching and learning is pretty much normal. We have some core lectures, which I had mentioned, specialized lectures, which dive deeper into specifics of the specialty of your choice. We naturally combine front of class teaching, e-learning, workshops and trainings, tutorials, role-playing games, and excursions. We have the normal plethora of examination styles, online paper exams, many reports and academic papers, group work. Nora had mentioned it. Group work is a very important aspect of work life after your education is completed. So we start that process, that learning process now. You will look at business plans, presentation and oral examinations will become second nature to you. And finally, the master thesis will round out your education. This is a small selection of the partners that we work with. Some of them are located on campus, others we will go and visit. We had mentioned some excursions. We've here are some examples of different excursion sites. 𝘗𝘢𝘳𝘵𝘠𝘳, 𝘱𝘢𝘳𝘃, Vattenfall, and BSR. I'm sure those names don't mean too much, but you will definitely learn what they mean and be able to appreciate excursions to these sites. Some graduation ceremonies in the past, obviously 2018, 2019, pre-pandemic, were held in the Lichthof of the TU Berlin, a very ceremonial site. Unfortunately, 2020 was the format changed online as everything else in the world. But nevertheless, it was a very successful event. And in 2021, we changed it even slightly further to a hybrid situation where some students were able to attend in person and others were able to attend in an online format. After graduation, you are definitely able to continue your education in research institutes or pursue a PhD. Industry or governmental institutions following senior consultancy, operations analysts, R&D project managers, valuation managers for real estate projects, or managers in strategy divisions are all possibilities. Example companies are Schneider Electric, Deutsche Bahn, 𝘱𝘢𝘳𝘃, and Digital Charging Solutions. Sandra, would you like to discuss this slide?
Yeah. Hello, my name is Sandra Lubahn. I belong to the administrative staff of the TÜV and Technische University. And yeah, our application procedure is new this year. It's a very interactive platform where you apply. You can browse through the programs we offer. You fill in the application form, your personal details, your contact details. You will be asked about your former studies, the programs you completed before, and of course regarding your working experience. And yeah, you have to upload your documents as PDF files. We prefer PDF files. You get feedback to your application. If the documents are fine, your motivation letter we need your first university degree, some documentation regarding your professional experience. We prefer to get a 𝘗𝘓𝘕 and also certificates about your English skills. But if you cannot provide these things, then we look into your details. Often you have already an English teaching program completed, or we find some similar skills or qualification in your transcript. And yeah, we will check your background based on your application. When you submit your application, then we need 5 or 10 days to give you a first feedback if we want to see more documents, or if you can add something in your motivation letter, because as the Professor Stephan already said, we do not want to know that you want to study at our university, that program. We want to know what you want to do with our master program in your future. And it's a win-win situation when you select a program you need for your future career. And we have students very interested in our program and in the fellow in the experience of the fellow students that you work together in that program. So yeah, then we can come to the next slide, please. We have a long application period. It starts on the 1st of February until the end of April, and we work very hard to check everything and to send out the admission decision by the selection committee at the latest on the 27th of May, so that you can, maybe you start the application for the visa procedure during the application procedure, but check if you can have a interview appointment in June, July, so that you are well prepared to come in due time to the university. Yeah. So sometimes we can hurry up that procedure, that we can send out the admission letter in the middle of May. But it depends on how many of you wait with their application until the last day. So that is an experience we do not like to have 50 applications on the very last day. It would be easier for you and for us if you apply as soon as possible, so that we can give you the feedback. Okay, there would be an update regarding your curriculum vitae or your motivation letter. It would be nice or not, but we cannot react in that way on the last day. So,
thank you very much, Sandra. And thank you for your attention. Georgi, I think we are now open for questions.
Great. Thank you very much to all of you for all these insights. And yeah, you are right, Philip. Let's go to questions. I have a lot of them. So maybe let's start the question to you, actually, because there's one specific question already to you, Philip, and then we'll move forward. So this person asks that he or she, it's anonymous, I'm planning to apply to building sustainability program with score 6 of IELTS. Is it sufficient to get approval or not?
I will defer to Sandra. I'm not 100. We do require a B2 equivalency. Sandra?
Yeah, the requirement, the minimum requirement is B2. Yeah, if you have a certificate only of A level and so on, but we found out that you're a good hard learning student or applicant, then it's not, or we still can admit you to the program, because the admission requirements are the university degree and the 1 year experience after the graduation, but the language skills and all the other documentation, the grades and so on are selection criteria. So it's not a thing that we do not admit you, but we prefer that you can follow the courses, and that's why many of our applicants have the level B1 or B2 as a minimum. That's why we inform you, please make sure that you can follow the classes. It makes no sense to spend such amount in a program for your future when you need to receiving classes or to receive the examination when you fail due to language problems. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Sandra. So it's quite flexible, as I can see, which is really nice. Thank you. And now maybe some specific question for Professor Stephan. So you mentioned about semester abroad, the possibility of doing semester abroad, and you mentioned several locations. So the question was, can the student himself or herself choose this location, or it's somehow imposed upon depending on some background?
Thank you. That's a very interesting question. No, we cannot impose. Yeah, that's impossible. We cannot tell someone you are going to Moscow. We have a partner university in Moscow. Of course, we're not going to send anybody there if it doesn't want to. We have students who are nervous about going to Poland, although I doubt that this will be a problem. But students took out or pulled out of their slots in Poland, and that, of course, we have to observe. No question. But of course, the question is not stupid. It is not stupid because in the end, we have an X amount of space or places that we can book in Paris, and not more than that. So basically what happens is we negotiate with the students, and we always find an amicable solution. We have, for example, 4 places in 𝘱𝘱 in Paris, and I think 2 years ago we said 8 because there were so many who want to go to Paris, and I couldn't convince them to go somewhere else. Okay, so you're free to choose.
Great, thank you very much for your answer. Let's now move to a question that is directed to all of you, because all of you mentioned work experience. And for Professor Stephan, there was a question actually, that is it important, this work experience, to be after my bachelor's degree? Like I think it was mentioned by Sandra. So the question is it important to have work experience, for example, during the BA, or is it strict to have after the BA before they apply for MBA? So let's start with Professor Stephan and then TU Berlin, anyone from you.
Interesting. Well, the easiest answer is ask yourself, why do we need job experience? Now, what's the purpose of job experience? And if the purpose is, as I mentioned, interactive learning, like you can come in and say, look, I don't want to learn theories all the time. That's boring. Professors like that, yeah, but students don't, for good reason. But we still believe that theories are very important. Yeah. So how do you bridge this gap? You bridge it by saying, look, you have experienced something like this. You know why we are talking about this. If you have experience in dishwashing, you probably have very little in terms of management that we can talk about with you. Human resource management, operation management, maybe. How to get an efficient process running. Supply chain, well, washing liquid, and that's it. Yeah, and who's your customer is not in there. So of course it would be nice if your job experience was post-bachelor. but it is not required. If you have very interesting job experience that you can relate to the topics that we are discussing in theory here, perfectly okay.
Thank you very much.
Very nice didactic approach, Professor Stephan. I like it. Our programs do require the work experience to take place after your first bachelor's degree. That is a little different, but we do need it after the completion of your first bachelor's. If you have more than one bachelor, or if you even have a master's degree, for example, it still counts from the bachelor, so your first degree. So anything that happens between the end of your bachelor studies and the beginning of the program. So if there's a little leeway in between, that's still open, but everything counts after your bachelor's.
Yeah, okay. and we are allowed to count the period from the date of your graduation until our program starts. So when you when you graduate, for example, in October or in September last year, and of course you cannot provide that 1 year during the application procedure, but you document that you are now working and you want to start the program in October, then of course we can check 1 year is there. And in Berlin, we have a law for higher education, and that is a formal requirement that our government defines here. So our hands are bound, and but you can see in our batches that our applicants or our students have more than 1 year. So it's yeah.
Thank you very much for all of your answers. Now another question to all of you again. So it is related to demographics. So there were lots of questions, first of all, about gap year. So is it a problem if I have a gap year? And there was one specific question, if I have a 26 year of gap year, might be that a problem for you? And related to this, is there any age limit for your programs? Let's start now with TU Berlin. They're already answering, but let's hear what they say.
So a gap year is generally not a problem. The question is naturally what one has done in that gap year. 26-year gap is excessive. So naturally, it would be interesting to learn what a person was doing in that time. But it is not a criteria that would automatically lead to exclusion. Especially if a person was working within that time or has other experience, 26 years with Doctors Without Borders or something, I'm certain that that is a qualifying experience. The second part of the question was
age limit.
Age limit? No. We have had students that were in their 50s, and we've had students that were just barely in their early 20s.
Okay.
So everything goes, and that's what makes the programs very interesting. The experience is very broad, and everyone learns from one another.
Nice place where generations meet each other. So good to know. Professor Stephan?
Yeah, Mr. Hebert, you're quite right. Diversity, that's the game in an MBA, it has to be. So yes, absolutely. We had mature students. They are a huge challenge for professors for teaching stuff. And they are such a rich resource. And it just is a mentality of the university, whether they are able to account for that. And we are working on this. We have been using them. That was really, really nice. Gaps. Well, if you have 24 years of family management, then you would have to argue in your motivation letter that was management. And if you do that convincingly, then a 24-year gap would not be a hurdle. Otherwise, everything applies what Mr. Hebert said.
Great. Thank you very much for these very optimistic answers to our potential students. So another question now. I have lots of questions because we have enough time and I want to use this for our students. So, but yeah, I'm trying to group them together. Regarding the specific GPA, I got some questions from Facebook. Is there any specific GPA that you asked for, like which is the threshold? So if you don't have this GPA, then you are not accepted. Professor Stephan.
That's a very interesting question. I don't know. I think I started some 10 years ago trying to learn the different education systems in Germany. How am I able to assess the education systems in how many countries are we looking at? Yeah, no, I can't. The GPAs, I don't know how much they tell us. That's why we have the 𝘗𝘢𝘷𝘦𝘳𝘴𝘪𝘱.
Yeah, good point. Thank you. Berlin.
The same goes for us as well. We do look at your transcript, obviously, and we do have an equivalency tool that the German government provides us. But we look at a lot of other factors and don't set a number on the GPA level. So yeah, if you're worried about that, definitely contact us and we can give you more information.
Okay, good to know. Thank you very much.
Isfahan University in Iran, minimum 60. So we do have experience for some universities. And you can see from this, we look at the same with the Berlin University. We look at each applicant and we just generate experience.
Yeah, good approach, if you ask me, as an international student. Thank you. And Professor Stephan, as you mentioned already, you touched upon GMAT. So there was actually one specific question for you. Let me address it now quickly. So the person asks, I have a master's degree in managerial psychology. And this person asks, do I still need to do a GMAT or may I be exempted?
Very difficult question. I think what Mr. Hebert quite rightly, what the Berlin team quite rightly said, we are bound to German law. Yeah, that's something you have to learn when you study in Germany anyway. Yeah, we're bound to German laws. There's if it is required, then it's required. Full stop. No discussion about it. Fortunately, we can twist the law here and there if there's good reason, if there's ample reason. And that's why our rules and regulations say that in general we require a GMAT 570 and so on and so on. In general means normally, yeah, but there may be good reasons of why this may not be required. In such cases, as you mentioned, I asked the student for an interview with Zoom. And these interviews are not, they're not always, they are friendly always, but they're not to be taken lightly. Now, because it's like a GMAT, only cheaper.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. I mean, really important information for particular student also and also in general. Thank you for sharing that. And now moving again to our general question series regarding the deadlines. Now, you all mentioned deadlines, but sometimes I many times experienced is that there are sometimes different deadlines for EU students and for non-EU students because again related to visa issues. Is it the case in the case of your programs, TU Berlin? Let's start with you.
No. We have one application deadline. We have the 30th of April. It's a very early time, and normally you can provide all documents. And if you get the admission letter in the middle or at the end of May, but you apply for a visa appointment during the application procedure for June and July, then everything will work fine to come to Germany in September, October to start our program in due time. Yeah, but we have only this application deadline. And when we send out the admission letter, we also ask the applicants to inform us during 2 or 3 weeks to accept the offered place or not. And then the clearing procedure will start if we get the information that they do not accept the program because they find another program more comfortable, I don't know, or the job requires to stay 1 year longer in the company and so on, then it means we look on our admission ranking list to give further candidates an admission, and it can be there's a pandemic or there's something happen in the application procedure that we start to offer the application, or that we open the application form once again for that clearing procedure. So that's it.
We used to have 2 deadlines for European, or for students in need of visa and students who don't need visa. But we stopped doing this because it just brings in a lot of turbulence that is not needed. It doesn't help anybody much. And I think that's very, very important for students to understand, for applicants to understand. We want, Sandra said, we want to have a program and that is filled with the right people. So we do a clearing thing in the end, yeah? After the deadline, we look at who applied and who's likely to come. We ask whether they come, and we cannot twist their arms if they say they come and they don't. But we want to have a fairly good idea of who's going to come, and therefore we need a deadline that is single for students in need of visa and students not in need of visa. Now, with visa, just a little bit less optimistic as my Berlin colleagues. 9 months is not unheard of as a period of time to wait for an appointment. So very often I find myself offering admission for students in 1 year time. So some come now and say, I would like to have an application for October and don't make it, so that they get a second admission letter for October 12 months later. And therefore, what we changed now, and that's, I think, a very good system, is we don't have a start date for our application process. You can start anytime. You can start in May, if you like, and then you're early enough for the process of the visa. It makes a huge problem for us. It causes an uncertainty, and that's, we offer admission to students without knowing how the class is going to look like at the end. So we have a certain fraction of a number of students that we immediately admit now already, like a year ahead of time.
Yeah. Thank you for clear answers. And there are 2 more questions, and let's call it a day. Of course, one of the most, I would say, top questions regarding the English language requirement. And so there are several questions where, like, okay, I studied in English. My bachelor was totally in English. Do I still need to provide any proof that I know English, or I will be exempted? So, or as Professor Stephan would say, can I twist the law in this case? Yeah, let's start with Professor Stephan.
I would have liked to hear. Now, that's a sensitive issue. For me, it's a foreign language. You can hear that. For everybody, it's going to be nearly everybody is going to be a problem. If you bring a letter from the university that your previous study was completely taught in English, then it will be a hard fetch for us to say, no, we don't accept it. But we had this. There was a university that we have visited frequently, received students from frequently, and the letter states that the teaching was in English, but it wasn't in reality. And therefore, interview with me.
Good option. And TU Berlin?
Yeah, there's an exemption if you completed your undergrad studies or master studies in the English program, then you do not need to provide a special test. But of course, yeah, we see or we prefer to have new results. So when you prepare for studies and you can do that test to prove your English skills, then of course the selection committee will check that, very welcome.
Yeah, thank you. And last but not least, a very specific question, I would say. All right, so this person says that I got an MBA, but not internationally recognized or accredited. Shall I mention this and share my thesis during application process or not? Is it an asset or a hurdle while applying? I already got rejected from one university where I shared my previous work. Thanks. So I'm not sure whether you were rejected because of it, but I don't know. Yeah, let's ask professors. Let's ask TU Berlin first.
TU Berlin first. No professor, only the administrator.
Because you are too many, I don't know who to address.
Yeah. I only want to make sure. I can, we need the information about your educational background, and I think there is no disadvantage to present that master. But I don't know. Sometimes we have applicants, they have that gap, and when we ask them, they started a program, and of course, why you do not want to inform that you already have knowledge on that base. So, and we know that there's something in life that happens why you cannot complete or whatever, or if you have completed in another direction, you have now the focus on this program. I think that is not a disadvantage to inform us about your professional or the educational background in version.
It would be a disadvantage to not be honest. Not because we find out anyway, but hey, it's to your disadvantage. You have, we don't want to, better this way. You don't want to have a study program that doesn't fit you. We have the experience to see whether it fits you or not. What you're going to do is you're going to be honest. You're going to say, I already have one that's slightly different from the one that I now want to learn. And that's what you're going to write in a motivation letter.
Great advice, pro tips from our guests. Thank you very much for all of your answers. It was really amazing. I enjoyed your presentation, enjoyed the Q&A, and I'm happy that we have had enough time to answer, actually, to clear the board. That is really cool. Yeah. Thank you, of course. Thanks to our attendees who stayed with us until the end, to those who joined us on Facebook and were really active there. Thanks for your questions everywhere. And yeah, if you have any questions, and I saw there were some really specific questions which I could not address to our guests, I would like to suggest to email to contact our guests directly by email. You can see how friendly they are, and I'm sure they will get back to you as soon as possible. But if you have any general questions regarding studying in Germany, of course, we are also friendly guys, and we can also get back to you as soon as possible. Send us email. Here you can see it, info@mygermanuniversity.com, and our colleagues will get back to you as soon as possible as well. And yeah, it would be also nice to hear feedback from you regarding today's webinar. Direct links are in the chat. You can send us your comments on either Facebook or Google, and I will be happy to read them and to improve our webinars in the future. Thank you very much, everyone, once again. And yeah, have a nice evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck in your studies.
Thanks.